Vallow Daybell has lived a very bizarre life, surrounded by multiple marriages and premature deaths. She's been married 5 times. She had 3 children. Now, just 3 of those husbands are alive and only 1 child. Her children, JJ and Tylee, were murdered and buried in her 5th husband's backyard. She was convicted of those murders, and prosecutors say she conspired with her 5th husband, Chad, and her brother, Alex Cox. Alex Cox is now dead after an alleged medical episode while on the toilet. Chad is locked up in Idaho, awaiting his trial for the murder of his first wife, Tammy, and Lori's children, JJ and Tylee. Meanwhile, Lori is locked up in Arizona, waiting for her trial for the murder of her 4th husband, Charles, who was JJ's dad and Tylee's stepfather. Tylee's dad is Joseph Ryan, Lori's 3rd husband, who died mysteriously at home. Before he died, Joseph was the victim of an attack by Lori's brother, Alex, who is also involved in the murder of Charles. Alex shot him and claimed self-defense. At the time of that shooting, 5 people were there: Charles, Alex, Tylee, JJ, and Lori. And now as Lori gets ready for trial, she is the only one still alive. Tonight, we take a closer look at Lori's relationship with Charles, with Alex, and with God, as we continue our investigation into the Doomsday cult killings.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Big day in court. Vallow Daybell was in court today. We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, she's strange. She's a strange woman. And if that was the end of the story, it'd be like, okay, yeah, okay, people are different. Some people are a little off the wall. Some people have some, different beliefs and live a different type of life, going from husband to husband and moving around and doing podcasts and saying, things that some people might believe are kind of crazy, right? That would be one thing if she was just strange. But she is a woman surrounded by death. And that's what makes this much different, the story of Vallow Daybell, Vallow Daybell, whatever you want to call her. Surrounded by death, just people in her life just die and die prematurely. It's not like, she's got aging parents and grandparents and they pass away, right? That happens. No, everyone dies young. Dies before you would naturally pass away. And I am not one who believes in coincidences. I think anyone somewhere connected to Vallow Daybell that dies, you need to investigate that. And that's what's happening. She's been convicted of murders already. The murders of her children and conspiring to murder the wife of her 5th husband. That trial, we covered it here on Closing Arguments. We played for you. You heard the evidence. You heard the testimony. We analyzed it for years going up to the trial. And she's a convicted murderer. So we know for sure that a jury found the evidence beyond any and all reasonable doubt that she was connected to those 3 killings. But they're not the only people in her life who have died and died prematurely. And the question tonight is who wasn't murdered, right? You've got Charles Vallow, her 4th husband, who was shot and killed by her brother, but her brother claimed it was self-defense, so was that murder? You've got Alex Cox, who was the person closest to her, I believe, even closer than her husband's, who knew everything. And if she had ever been tried, if she was ever going to be tried for the murders, he would be the most important witness or most likely defendant who would flip, right? Who would flip and take a deal and testify and tell the truth about what was really happening. He died mysteriously. He's like sitting on the toilet, something happens and he dies. Like, what was it? What was it? What happened? And the timing of it. When the body of Tammy Daybell is being exhumed, he mysteriously dies? Yeah, they keep saying it's been investigated and there's no charges and it wasn't a murder. But, like, really? And then her third husband, Joseph Ryan. She was in a custody battle with this guy. This guy was literally attacked with the stun gun by her brother. The same brother who shot Charles. And yet he somehow mysteriously died. And then all of a sudden the custody battle and all those issues were over. Like, this doesn't happen. Like, think about the people in your life. Nobody has this much death surrounding them. So at a minimum of these three, she's going to be charged has been charged for the murder of Charles Vallow and is now in Arizona, right? She was serving time in Idaho. They extradited her in the middle of the night, brought her down to Arizona, and today she was arraigned inside the courtroom. Let's take a look.
Ma'am, could you state your full name, please?
Lori Vallow Daybell.
And your date of birth?
6/26/73.
All right, then this is the time set for the not guilty arraignment on each count. We'll start with number 6. As to number 6, ma'am, you are before the court on count 1. We'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Do you waive a reading?
Yes, sir.
And we'll set the matter for your next court hearings as follows in this case. The next court hearing will be an initial pretrial conference. That will be on January 18th. It's at 8:15 in the morning before Commissioner Garfinkel. The comprehensive pretrial conference will be on February 21. It's at 8:30 in the morning, and that's before Judge Boreski. The final trial management conference will be on March 28. That's also at 8:30 in the morning before Judge Boreski. And then the trial assignment date on this case will be on April 4th. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's before the master calendar judge.
So you heard, there are a couple of things from that are significant. Number one, she referred to herself as Lori Vallow Daybell, yet when she was in Idaho, she was saying, oh, just call me Lori Daybell. Now that she's being charged with the murder of Charles Vallow, now all of a sudden she wants to bring back that last name. The other thing is her hair. And I'm not being catty here. She is still apparently taking the time to do her hair. If you saw the way, this doesn't naturally do those things that it does. And that tells me something else about Lori Vallow Daybell, is that while she claims to be this very spiritual person, you know, everything's about God, 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 there's still a lot of vanity tucked in that woman. A lot of vanity. A ton. And to me, it also is shown, like every time someone dies, her life gets better. Right? Alex dies, one less witness against us, Chad. He won't be able to testify against us. Joseph Ryan dies. Oh, all right, custody battles all over. Charles dies, I get the insurance money. Oops. She didn't get the insurance money. She didn't get it. But when JJ and Tylee were gone, she was still getting those checks, still getting that money, didn't have the responsibility, didn't have the expense. She was free to go to Hawaii, hang out by the pool with Chad with her bag of money. Unbelievable. When her first husband's wife dies, oh, all of a sudden, he's got the insurance money. Every time someone in her circle dies, her life got better. Well, it's not better anymore. She's serving life without the possibility of parole. Okay, so let's get into this relationship of Lori and Charles as we try to prepare for this upcoming trial in Arizona. Joining me in San Antonio, Texas, Lori Vallow Daybell's cousin and the author of the book, I Walked Through Fire to Get Here. Megan Connor is with us. And in Salt Lake City, Utah, host of the Mormon Stories podcast, Dr. John DeLynn is with us, PhD in psychology. Great to have you both here. Megan, I'll begin with you. She's your cousin. We appreciate you coming on here today. What are your thoughts about her spirituality versus her vanity? Because this is someone who, you know, she'd enter beauty pageants. I always felt like she was always trying to upgrade who she was married to, someone with more money, more money, more money. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yes, it's very obvious to all of us that for Lori, vanity came first. And I think the religiosity was a way for her to enhance her vanity. She was told by Chad Daybell that she was a goddess, and that fell right in line with what she believed about herself.
John, how do you see that relationship between vanity and her spiritualness, her alleged devotion to our Savior?
Yeah, I think Megan got it right. I think that she used her beauty to manipulate men, to gain power, to gain influence. But I do think there was a real emphasis on also leveraging the church, the LDS church, the prepper community, and a lot of the LDS or the Mormon church beliefs that sort of allowed her, I think, to start deceiving herself, but also allowed her to gain status and influence within a broader community, the Mormon prepper community.
So let's take a look. This is January 31st, 2019. Charles Vallow on body cam footage. He's locked out of his house in Arizona, his house, and has this conversation. It's very revealing about what's going on in this relationship between Lori and Charles.
She's lost her mind. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God, and remember the 144,000. She's come. Jesus is coming next year.
And two others.
Threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said,
how did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed." Is what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
Megan, this is so chilling because we know Charles, months later, ends up getting shot and killed. Lori in Arizona now charged as being part of that conspiracy for that murder with her brother. What was your take on their relationship, on Lori and Charles?
By all accounts, Charles adored Lori and treated her very well. I only met Charles one time, but every time that I talked to family members about him and about their relationship, it was clear to me that he made a lot of sacrifices for her, that he moved to Hawaii for her. He wanted to provide well for her and for her family members. He was always, financially supporting Lori's family members. He was a doting husband, and from what I've heard from, Colby and other people who were under his influence, that he was a great dad, that he cared very much about his kids, and that he was just a good man.
Yeah, John, you think about it, this, stand-up guy, right? They adopt little JJ. He takes in Tylee, obviously, is taking care of her as well. Yet there are threats. Like, he's getting actual threats, but my guess is he doesn't believe that she could actually go through with it.
It's hard to imagine him not seeing the trail of death that sort of preceded her, but I guess it wasn't broadly known. I do think it's important to kind of note some of the things that were said there. She believes that she's one of the chosen, one of the 144,000. Because it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, she believes that we're in the end times, and she believes that her feelings are the Holy Ghost telling her what's true. And in the Mormon Church, in chapter 3 of 1 Nephi, the third chapter at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, it has this story where a prophet kills a man, chops off his head, because he feels like divine messengers are telling him that's what he should be doing. It's not that every Mormon kills everybody every time they hear a feeling, but it is consistent with Mormon teachings and theology that your feelings are the Holy Ghost. And if Lori believed that Charles needed to go, she was just obeying what her feelings told her, and her interpretation, that was divine.
Now, I'm going to put up the divorce papers that were filed in February of 2019, so it's about 1 month later. In this, Charles writes, mother, Lori, vacated the marital residence over 2 weeks ago. After leaving the residence, Lori returned while the father, Charles, was on a business trip in Texas and proceeded to clear out the majority of Charles' possessions. Lori canceled Charles' flight home from Texas the day of the flight. Then when he got to Phoenix, Charles went to the parking lot to get his truck to find out that the truck was no longer parked there because Lori had used the spare key to get the truck and remove it from the airport parking lot. Lori called Charles and told him she and JJ were in a hotel for the night. Lori also told Charles that she did not want anything to do with him or the children, and that he could have them because she had a more important mission to carry out. This is so significant, Megan, because if she had just let him have the children, those children would be alive.
Exactly. I see in these documents the classic discard. When Lori was done with you, she wanted to burn everything to the ground. And I experienced that myself, and I see it in this divorce proceeding with Charles. And the narrative that she told the family was Charles was having an affair. I found out about it. He got mad. And so I took his truck. You know, she emptied the business bank account, and she told everybody not to have any contact with Charles. So it was a classic Lori discard.
And what did she do to you, Megan?
Well, when we lived together, she kicked me out of the apartment that we lived in over a dispute over a boy, basically.